Welcome back, Vicarious viewers. Today I'll be reviewing the 9th film by Quentin Tarantino, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. This movie is about fading Hollywood star Rick Dalton and his stuntman Cliff Booth, both trying to stay afloat in an ever-changing industry and coming to emotional terms that the times are simply catching up with them. They also just happen to live next door to star actress and model Sharon Tate, who is charmingly played by Margot Robbie. Sharon seems so fun and carefree in this movie. This really isn't a spoiler, but there's a scene where she's watching one of her own movies in the theater and takes such innocent glee in how the audience is enjoying her performance. And then there is the looming performance of the Manson family weaving their way in and out of the narrative, of which I have to mention a surprise performance by Margaret Qualley. I hope I'm saying that right. Speaking of surprise performances, where did Julia Butters come from? She plays a very young actor who takes her job seriously. She was only briefly in the movie for a couple of scenes, but she stole the spotlight from DiCaprio a little, and she knows how to stand her ground with the big boys. Don't call her Pumpkin. But as the title suggests, this Once Upon a Time is in Tarantino's own alternate universe, where history isn't exactly what you think. Personally, I love this film. The beautiful, if at times choppy cinematography not only captures the glamour and grit of the Hollywood era, but also integrates old projector-style movie clips as effective, almost Family Guy-ish asides. But they worked. They gave a lot of context to the characters. Some were original scenes shot for this movie, some were, I believe, actual footage from classical films, including the real Sharon Tate. Some were classic footage with DiCaprio edited into the scene. And then you had your standard flashbacks, which you don't always realize until later is a flashback. There were a few times where I did wonder, when is this? Did we jump forward to somewhere else? Did we jump back? But I did eventually orient myself once the context of the scene became clearer. The movie is mostly a slow-burn comedy drama, weaving together seemingly unrelated storylines before taking a sharp left turn for an almost shockingly violent end. It suddenly reminds you were watching a Tarantino film, but it kept me engaged almost completely throughout. With an almost 3-hour runtime, however, I will say people looking for a Tarantino action flick, or if you decide to take your older teenagers with you, may get a little bored at times. This is more of a character study. On the note of deciding whether or not to take your teenagers, this film does not have any nudity or sex, but it does have a little sexually explicit dialogue. There are F-bombs galore and swearing throughout. There are drug references and use, but being a Tarantino movie about Hollywood, I was surprised how completely devoid of cocaine it was. As for violence, most of the film is fairly lacking, but it certainly makes up for it with that final act. The violence that is shown may be unsettling to more sensitive audiences. It had many in my theater gasping, wincing, or shouting out, "Oh my god!" But if you're going to a Tarantino flick, you should already know what you're signing up for. Overall, this was a solid film. It may not appeal to mass audiences, but if you are a Tarantino fan who also enjoys art house style character development, this may be right up your alley. I give this movie 4.5 out of 5 Vicarious feels. I only dock it the half feel because a few of the scenes do drag on a little too long. Like I said, it is almost 3 hours, and some of it could have been clipped down for time. But thank you for stopping by. Be sure to hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video. Hit the notification bell if you want to see my future reviews and reactions. And as always, thanks for stopping in for this Vicarious view.